Hello and welcome to the Echo of Connections podcast with me, Gabe Hansen, and my mother, Dawn Hansen.
Hello. Welcome. This is our follow-up episode where we complete the story from episode 5 where we talk about the heroes at work. And this is a really quite amazing story that started back on June 6th of this year. And this is we have a 911 call. We have a copy of the 911 call where I was the call taker, and we get to hear the heroes. It's a terrible audio quality, but we'll do our best to clean. Gabe did his best to clean it up for
it's pretty bad
audio consumption, so we apologize for the quality. I do have the detective's report, which, the initial incident was shocking and had lots of, how in the world could this person... He must have done this before if he's trying to snatch a child off of the street during daylight hours. So we'll get into a little bit of what the detectives went through and what I think we could probably surmise, or what I surmise from what the heroes did, the Lawsons, it's a man and wife that were on this call. Not only did they save this little girl's life, but they interrupted this person's potential crime spree that he was going to start. The life of crime was interrupted by these people. So, with
was it ever confirmed that this was his first attempt?
As far as we can tell, with every, as far as the detectives can see, it looks like it. Now, there's no way to say for sure, but it they scoured all of his social media, all of his Google, everything that they did was really impressive because they were able to take his Google information and backtrack where he was by his and verify with receipts like what store he was at, where he was staying, and he made copious amounts of notes about what his plans were. So
kind of like a diary.
Yeah. It's the diary is pretty terrifying because it actually.
Have you been able to read it?
I didn't actually read the diary. I didn't ask for that part of the evidence. But it's referred to.
Could you have?
I think so, because the case is now closed. I mean, I don't know if it's...
I guess they don't have to go to trial.
Right? Yeah, we don't want to give away the ending of the story, but...
But yeah.
It's a good ending in the sense that this person can't victimize anybody else. Because he took his own life. So I should set up the story this way, that it was on June 6th, and it's 4:20 in the afternoon. It's 4:18 to be specific. And we have a 911 center where this couple has called 911, and they give the information about the location of where the crime is, and they say the call is sent to us in a computer form that just has some boxes that are filled out. And it says suspicious conditions, and the only 2 lines of information that I have when I get the people on the phone, so it's sort of like starting in the middle of a conversation. It says, caller chasing someone that tried to kidnap a child, and then the next piece of information says, now on 42nd Street, caller following. So I'm a little confused because I'm like, caller following who? So you'll hear me trying to gather, like, what's happening now? Because there's a lot of ways this call could go with caller chasing someone that tried to kidnap a child. I didn't do they know the child? Is it their child? Is this a custody thing? Is this a dispute thing? So we'll try playing the audio.
Springfield Police.
Oh, I have your caller on Daisy and Camilla.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Hi, he's on Main Street right now. He's going in and out of traffic. He's trying to get away from us.
In a vehicle?
We witnessed him. Go over there.
Okay, is he in a car? On foot or on a car?
He's on a green Nissan, and he's literally going in and out of traffic right now. We're chasing him.
Okay, listen to the words I'm asking, okay? He's in a green car?
Yes, green Nissan.
Which direction are you going on Main Street?
We're on Main Street and 51st. We're trying to get away from him. He's trying to get away from us.
Okay, and he tried...
He's turned on 52nd Street and Main. We're chasing him right now.
Okay, 52nd?
Yeah, license plate 249.
Okay.
We're trying to get close enough. We're on.
It turned. Okay, which direction do you go on 52nd?
Daisy again.
Back on Daisy?
Left on Daisy. Yes, we're chasing.
Southbound on South 52nd, and then on Daisy Street. Which way on Daisy Street?
Now he just went on left on 52nd Place. out of hell because...
Turned onto 52nd Place.
Correct.
Okay. And he did not take a child at this point, but he tried. Is that correct?
No, he tried. And she
Tried. Okay. All right.
So at this point, from the time the person called 911, got transferred to me, and now I'm trying to figure out what's happening. I've had them on the phone for like a minute and 30 seconds, and I'm still trying to figure out if there was a crime and what the heck is happening, where they really are. As she's saying different directions on different, she doesn't say directions, she just says turn right on, and then we're on Daisy Street, which you can go right or left on Daisy. And so that makes a difference about where the officers are going to try to intercept them. So you'll hear me trying to bounce between where are you at now and what was the actual crime. I keep bouncing between the two because I do want the officer to find them, but I need to know if there's a crime.
And where did that happen? Where did he try to take the child?
On 48th and in the Hayden Home community.
At 48th and Daisy. Okay, where's he at now?
He's going towards Foxtrot. He's going in and out of traffic.
Going towards Bob's Straub, going in and out of traffic.
I mean, we're back on Main Street. Sorry, back on Main.
You're back on Main. Which direction on Main? Eastbound? Like towards Thurston?
Towards Foxtrot, towards Thurston, correct.
Okay, let me know what street you're crossing now.
We're crossing the Foxtrot highway, and he's literally, he's going straight past Walgreens right now.
Passing Walgreens at 58th. Okay.
Yeah, and he's going, he's stuck behind, it looks like...
Were you able to, sorry, you stuck behind?
No, we lost him.
Okay, no problem.
Past 58th Street.
Okay.
At this point, they've lost sight of the guy, and in the meantime, we get an additional 911 call that comes in from a different person who doesn't know what this car is chasing this other car for. I'm busy trying to keep this person on the line, so the dispatcher who has been sending officers picks up the other 911 line, and that caller is upset about this person driving, and they're driving crazy, and it looks like a road rage incident to them. In the meantime, I'm trying to recalculate, what does this guy look like? What actually happened? So you'll hear me starting to ask those questions. Meanwhile, I have the woman on the line, but her husband's the one driving, and he's trying to catch up to where that car is. I don't know that at the beginning, that there's really two people in the car, but that's what's happening.
He has a bushy black hair, and he had a beard, and literally...
I'm sorry, it's so hard. He had a beard and what?
Bushy, like a bushy black hair, like long...
Bushy black hair.
And a beard. And he literally pulled into our area. We were leaving, and he pulled in because he followed the little girl into our area, and we're like, what's he doing? And he pulled over near the bus stop, and she ran past him, and then he turned around and followed her towards her house. He pulled over, opened his door, jumped out to grab her, and pulled up and honked at him, and he ran. He was going to take her. And I'm like, sweetie.
Okay. How old is he?
How old is he? In his 30s?
Okay. And what's he wearing?
He's going. He looks like he's going towards past Thurston. He just passed.
What street did he just pass? What number?
I'm looking once we get there. I'm not sure. We just went past 66.
Passing 66. Okay, let me know what happens at 69th.
Thank you. Oh, it looks like he's turning right on the next light. So I don't know if that's...
At 69th? Turning onto South 69th.
In our dispatch center, there's two of us, so you'll hear me say, and I started to articulate turning on South 69th, and you can hear somebody in the background, that's the dispatcher, repeating that information to the officers. She doesn't even have to wait for me to type it in because she's hearing what I'm saying. So I say it loud enough for her to hear so she can just say it to the officers right away while I'm typing in the call. And if she has a doubt about what I said, then she can read it also.
Okay, are you able to follow, or where are you at?
Yes, we're following him right now. He's
okay.
Away from us.
Okay, let me know what street he might turn on, okay?
Yeah, we're looking to make sure it's his car. We're trying to get up to him. I think it's his car, though. Yeah.
Okay.
He's turning on, I don't know what street this is. Shoot.
Okay.
Just block him. Stop him. We got to block.
Okay, wait, careful. I don't know if he's armed, okay? What kind of car are you in?
What? We're in a white Toyota. He's going back down towards Main Street.
Back towards Main Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you keep the kid involved? He's going to the stoplight. He's going to run it. I hope it's
No, but not. It's going back towards Main, and they think he's going to run the light.
Right on. He ran the right. He turned right on. just on Tremont right on Main Street again, past 69.
At the point where they said they had him blocked in, and she's like, we've got him blocked in, we've got him blocked in. I had a moment of panic. You'll hear me say, I'm not sure if he's armed. I suddenly realized that this is now their lives are in danger. So I'm not sure what situation they've walked into. And it's even more imperative that we get officers to them. So at that point, you can hear a little moment where you can't hear me at all. That's when I step on the radio because I want to make sure it gets out as fast as possible that car actually has gone back out to Main Street, running the red light and going eastbound on Main, because we're trying to coordinate getting to him. And everybody was so far away from where the incident was, we didn't have officers in the right place.
And he's speeding. He's going fast.
Okay. Okay. Were you able to get any part of the plate?
What's the other lady? 249.
249, something similar. Okay, and it's a green Mazda?
No, green.
I'm sorry, you cut out. What was it, green?
Silverish green Nissan.
Silverish green Nissan, four-door. Okay.
And he literally just passed people on the left-hand side of the turn lane. He just went past the black truck.
He passed in the center lane?
Yeah, and now he just passed on the wrong lane going to, oh God, he's going to get hit.
Okay, back off so you don't get in the crash, okay? Back off.
We are going to back off, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Hold on just a second, okay? Springfield?
I told you he was going after her. I told you he was.
All right, where is that, ma'am? Can you still see it? Can you still see it?
Yeah, he's still on east on 123.
Okay, what are you passing right now? Have you passed South 79th? Are you still on Main?
We're on Main, but we just passed 83rd.
Passing 83rd. Okay. Yep, 83rd.
Yeah, he's up there. He's passing people on the left hand.
Okay, I have state police on the other line. We're trying to give him the information, okay? Okay. Where's that's down on Park 1. But they put me on, it's on hold.
Can you hear me?
They're on hold.
Why was she
What's the closest unit to being Main?
Yep.
He's still on Main. He's stuck behind traffic.
Stuck in traffic? Where at?
We're like, he's behind slow cars.
Sure. And you guys have passed Thurston Road?
Past 89th.
Passing 89th. Okay.
Yeah, 8902. We just passed, and he's literally up ahead of us. We're stuck behind a little.
Okay, no problem. You guys just stay back, so I don't want you to get hurt. Okay.
Okay, I just cannot.
Milepost 13. There's a state trooper in the area that's a bit ahead of you guys. Okay, so if the officers get in, you just back off so they can get them. Okay.
Okay, of course.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And what was your name?
My name is Jennifer Lawson.
Lawson, Lawson? Okay, Jennifer. Okay.
That just scared me because I was like, what is he? We never saw him in our neighborhood before. I'm like, why is he pulled up next to the bus stop?
Do you know the little girl? Do you know her name or anything?
No, but we saw where she has. She's a redhead.
She's a...
no problem.
Okay.
She was like about 6 or 7 years old, and she was running home. And we even pulled up next to her after, do you know him? She goes, no. And I'm like, go home, honey, we got this. So I told her to go home. And yeah, it was scary though, because he pulled in, we followed her in, because she was running into our area, and we were leaving. He followed her in, and he turned around and parked next to where the buses dropped the kids off. And she ran past him because he was smiling creepily.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the cop. He ran past.
Okay, and where are you guys at now?
The cop was going.
Passing what? What are you passing? There's a state trooper trying to catch up. What? I'm sorry? What's that?
This car in front of us, and we said no. He's up there. But, yeah, so the...
What are you passing right now, okay? What are you passing right now? Passing
Cedar Flat Road.
Cedar Flat Road, okay. Every time you get a street, can you please tell me what it is? Because that way we can coordinate getting somebody to you guys.
The cop just passed us.
They did. Okay. Yep. Can you still see the car ahead of you? Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I had a little silver trim around them. But we just turned around and don't see the car anymore. We're going to go that road just in case he went down there.
What road is that?
Over the car. We're going down Cedar Flat.
You're checking Cedar Flat, okay.
OSP 2539 on Springfield.
So she's checking Cedar Flat because she thinks he might have turned.
We've had a troop there.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold just a second.
So when Jennifer Lawson says that she starts telling the story about what she saw, what made her think that something was wrong, she describes the guy and she describes his creepy smile and then how they had decided to go ahead and follow him and then check on the child and then turn around and chase him. And when she said the creepy smile part is when I was 100% in that something was really wrong. And when she mentioned the school bus stop, it's like stuff right out of every parent's nightmare. Every parent's nightmare is this scenario. And I choked up for a minute when I was like, oh, thank you so much. Please don't get hurt. Because I was like, thank you for continuing to follow, but please, God, don't get in a crash is what I kept thinking. And that these people continued to follow and then go down a separate road on their own to go search for this car just blew me away. I mean, it's not what normal police departments like 911 tells everybody to stop following. If it's a drunk driver, stop following if it's a suspect, because the liability falls on police departments if these people end up getting hurt. Why did you stand the line? Why did you encourage them to follow? So there's that catch-22 between, do we want to catch the kidnapper and follow through and do what we do the very best we can because these people agree that that's what they want to do? Or do we stop talking to them and have them call me back if you find them? And that I've heard 911 calls where that's what they do. They tell people, I can't stop following them, and if you find them again, call us back. Our agency has taken the tack that if the person is comfortable and, as long as we keep reminding them of their safety and that please be careful, as long as it's a mutual agreement that we've decided that our citizens know best for themselves. And if they want to continue to do something like chase a kidnapper, then that's what they do.
Be fun.
She's checking Cedar Flat. Okay.
Just when he opened his door and reached for her, I freaked out.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was scary.
All I have is a possible attempted...
Okay, at some point we're going to have to figure out where this little girl lives. So I'm going to keep you on the line until we can figure that, till we get this part done and then have you help us figure out where the victim lives.
Oh, my chest is hurting from this.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said my chest is hurting from this.
Oh, I know. Just deep breath, deep breath. You guys, wow, holy moly.
Yeah.
Wait, do you like car radio?
I hope he gets them.
We have an officer attorney on Cedar Flat also, okay?
Awesome, okay. We're looking around to see his cars, if we can see his car, but we don't see anything.
You don't see anything? Okay.
Area.
Did you guys pass Dearhorn?
Did we pass Dearhorn? Well, we passed Cedar Flat Road. He passed Cedar Flat Road, so I don't know if we passed that.
Okay, but you're not sure if he went past that or not?
I don't know, yeah.
Okay.
Holy crapola. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not up here. He's going back down.
Okay, you guys are coming back down?
We're going to get our groceries that we were trying to get from the little liquor store. We're going to just get some milk, and we were heading back home, and then I'll go look around for that little girl. Whew.
Were you the only ones that saw this happen? Were there any other adults?
Yes. No, we were the only ones. He was scared.
Okay.
Poor little thing.
Okay, and you...
I don't like the way he looked.
Mm-hmm. And you saw her, where do you think she lives, like on 48th and...
Oh, she lives in the Hidden Home areas.
I don't know what that is, so what street would that be?
Oh, it's on 48th and Daisy.
Daisy?
There's no way to get out. You have to do a...
the loop?
Roundabout. Well, loops around. There's no way to get out of that area. You have to go in and then go back out the same.
Okay.
I'm going to head out east.
Okay.
Clear.
I'm just trying to figure out where we're going to have to figure out where this little girl lives. We thought her mom would call or somebody would call.
Yeah, well, we're going to go...
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I told my husband to forget the groceries, go home, and we'll go knock on the door that she went to, and we'll see if that's the...
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I know where it happened. I'm hoping the people that house that it happened, and they have a camera.
Oh, that'd be good. So you can point out which house. Which house the child lives in?
A couple witnesses that didn't see anything up. I'm checking for one as well, too.
Did I get that right, that you can point out the house she lives in?
Wait, can we talk to whoever's calling and just confirm they'll be a witness for reckless driving as well?
Yeah, we're just on the phone with her, and she thinks she can point out which house the child belongs to. Are they willing to do it?
Are you, Jennifer, are you still there? I might have lost her. They were up Cedar Flats, coming back down, because they...
She's going up Cedar Pass, coming back down.
Yeah, they will sign. They will sign for sure. Oh, Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. So are you willing to sign it for at least his bad driving and how he was driving? Like be a witness? Okay, perfect.
Sign anything, and I can actually ID him.
Okay, perfect.
So if you guys find him, I can pick him out. I can ID him.
Here, I'll go contact the complainant.
Okay. Where can we meet you? Can you guys stop somewhere so we can have an officer meet you?
I can contact
He could follow us back home if he wants.
Well,
It's easier if he wants to sign
they're
now.
right there. So where do they want to meet her? Are you guys at Cedar Flats?
No, we just passed.
No, you passed that.
I don't know where we were going home. I don't know where we're at now, so hold on. We're back on Main Street.
Can you meet him at 48th and Main? The officer will meet you there at 48th and Main.
Perfect. 48th and Main, we'll meet him there. Thank you.
To 48th and Main. Okay, and you're in the white.
Yeah, we're in the white Camry.
Camry.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
When I lost them on the phone, there's a significant period of time, it doesn't seem like much, but they're already nowhere near where the officer was that was looking for them. That's how easy it is to miss people. Like, an officer was going up the road, the same road they were going down, and they missed each other. So now trying to coordinate having an officer contact her, because the officer that went back to where they described the little girl was supposed to live, but we didn't have an address. Nobody found a little girl who was in distress. Nobody found a parent upset about their child almost being abducted. So the officer's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And we don't have a crime unless we have a victim. So at this point, it's super important. We have bad driving. We have reckless driving. You can hear the officer in the background saying, are they willing to sign for at least his bad driving, which is why I ask and confirm that they're willing to say that they're witnesses for his bad driving. So we have at least some probable cause to continue looking for his vehicle while we try to find the victim to come up with a bigger crime, which is the kidnapping. Sometimes people get really frustrated that things don't happen right away, but the justice system is set up so that we don't take somebody's rights away that didn't commit a crime, and we don't stop vehicles that didn't commit actual crimes. So we're trying to get all of the things in the right place, so an officer is supposed to meet them at 48th and Main Street.
1620. 2 Sam 22. Can you start heading towards the suspicious conditions at Daisy and Camellia? Daisy and Camellia, right? Our caller's chasing somebody that tried kidnapping a child. It's a green Nissan car now on 42nd. We're trying to get an exact direction of travel. Eastbound on Main from 40. Stand by. We're trying to get a correct update.
22 from Pulse.
Is there another unit that can start heading that direction?
2712.
Copy. Partial plate 249. And it sounds like it went southbound on South 52nd, and then it hit Daisy. We're trying to find out which direction on Daisy.
Copy. And just confirming that it wasn't able to actually abduct anybody.
It turned on to 52nd place, and that's correct. He did not take the child.
Okay. One 12. I have no computer. Vehicle 89. I'm en route to that area.
Copy.
2713. I logged out and I'm on as 1721. I'll be en route as well.
Copy. 1721. Sounds like our caller's following, Rick. Eastbound on Main from 48th Street. Right. Now they're passing Walgreens at 58. Again, partial plate of 249, a green Nissan.
As the radio traffic indicates, we're trying to figure out what's going on, and you'll start to hear officers that are not actually logged onto their computer. They cleared briefing to get back into their patrol cars to go out to the call. One of the other officers had been in that area all day long and went and did a different call during the overlap period when we were trying to get more officers on, and he was pissed as hell because he'd been in that area all day long and missed the chance to capture this car. You'll hear him come on later. However, at this point, we have 2 officers that are going, 2 that are clearing from the station, and other agencies in the area are listening. We have Eugene Police, State Police, and Lane County Sheriff's Office.
Eugene, Command 1.
Command 1, go ahead.
Was flagged down just east of Walterville of a reckless silver Nissan Frank 269 Frank Lincoln George. She said it cut back by the River Stop Tavern area. Not sure if that's going to be it or not.
Copy. It sounds like our complainant described it as both silver and green, so it may be the involved vehicle.
Okay, that's it. It last turned back towards Camp Creek. And that was right 5 ago. I'm on Camp Creek now.
Copy that.
on code 5 on Camp Creek.
Copy.
269 Frank Lincoln George is on an 11 Nissan 4-door to an...
Once we have the license plate from the officers that saw the vehicle, I was able to then get the registered owner, but the registered owner was a female, and she was definitely an older female who I didn't fit the description of the male in the car. So one of the things that we do as dispatchers is we start digging into the address through a different system, because it was also not in our part of the state, but it was registered in Oregon, but south of where we are. Once I got the information, I was able to find a phone number, and I reached out to the owner of the vehicle to see, I thought maybe this car was stolen. So the whole time we're trying to build a case for the officers to find additional probable cause in case it's a stolen car. Or if it's not stolen, then maybe we're going to figure out who it is that tried to kidnap this child so that we could come up with a name.
Hello? Hi, I was trying to reach... Yeah, that's me. Hi, I was checking to see if you still own a 2011 Nissan sedan.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you...
Well, sort of. My son and I own it together.
Your son and you do?
Yeah.
Okay. And does he usually live with you guys, or is it... Do you know where it is now?
What's going on?
The car is
at the coast.
What's that?
Should be at the coast.
Should be at the coast. Okay. Because we thought it's just in our city, and we weren't sure if it was supposed to be here or.
Well, my son went on his week vacation from work, and he was going to go to Brookings. So where are you?
We're in Springfield, Oregon.
Oh, okay. Maybe he decided to go there.
Okay. And what's your son's name?
My son's name's Tanner.
Tanner, is it also Hoover?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that's true. We'll make sure it's all good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Bye-bye.
Now we know who our suspect is. It's Tanner Hoover, and the officers are chasing after him. They've lost sight of him, but they have really good intel that he's going down a 2-lane road. As they're going down that 2-lane road, he is coming back out of it, having hit 2 different vehicles along the way to get away from the officers because he's lost, doesn't really know where he's at. Those officers end up doing a U-turn, following him. Other officers are coming in. He pulls over abruptly and stops. And here's the radio traffic in a shortened version.
22 are on a felony stop, but the driver's not responding.
Copy. Felony stop. Driver not responding. We think it's going to be Tanner Hoover. No wants.
Confirm we're facing eastbound on Camp Creek. Get signed.
Facing eastbound.
20 en route.
20 en route.
27210.
Doing it.
20, if there's a unit to get up off of Milliken with spikes, just in case he decides to take off again.
12 is about 200 yards in front of him, so if he comes this way, he's going to get it.
Copy. Station 171, light witness is still not here. Can we try to find out where she's at?
We'll give her a call.
Conrad and whoever else is with you down there in front, just know that he can still dip behind the store before your guys' spikes if he takes off again.
21, go to 42nd and Main. That's where she is at Dutch Brothers. It's going to be easiest that way.
En route.
22, the driver's still just hunched in the middle of the steering column, not moving, not responding to loud hails.
Copy.
So we've got about 6 units behind him and 2 in front of him.
Copy that.
We've got beanbag out.
Beanbag out.
Charlie 2 out.
Copy.
1021, we're still loud hailing him from a patrol car. Mike, break. Still unresponsive. I'm now positioned on the east side of the barn. I can barely see into the driver's cab from the front.
Copy.
20 from 12, can I head that way, or do you want me to stay here on Marcola and Camp Creek?
22 County is backing up a truck that I'm blocking in now.
Copy.
He's blocked in. OSP on the backside, LCSO on the front.
Copy.
Springfield, any route, medics, code 3.
Affirmative. Where would you like them to stage?
Self-inflicted gunshot wound. You got a watch commander you want to route them to?
Copy. GSW. We'll have them in route code 3.
Break. Work up to the window. It looks like they're checking for a pulse.
Copy.
Here's 1249.
Copy.
Officer Burke, who did not get to stay at 54 in Maine where he was patrolling earlier, is the one who says 1249, which is 12 code for deceased and dead right there. So Tanner Hoover has now killed himself. We have no idea about how he got there, what started this, if this was his first crime or if he had multiple crimes. So then the investigation begins. So once the investigators get there, our main detective is going to be Jamie McMahon. So everything that happens, whether anybody who does any kind of part of the report, all gets forwarded to her to put together in an investigation book, and she's in charge of tracking each piece of information. So on the day of the actual attempted kidnap, she's heading out to try to make contact with the juvenile. We're still trying to figure out where the victim is. And one of the officers does figure out which house. Once he finds the Lawsons, they point out where the little girl lives. And the detective then goes to the house and makes contact with the mother and father. And then she ends up talking to the 8-year-old girl. And so I have a couple of her statements from the report. In the report, Jamie writes about her introduction to the child. I'm just going to call her the child, as opposed to use her name. And she explains to the little girl what her job is to keep kids safe, and she asks her to tell her what happened. And she said that she was going down to her friend's house, but the friend wasn't there, so she was walking home on the sidewalk, and a guy followed her in her car. And she said the guy then stopped her by standing in front of her. At that point, she said somebody else drove by, and the guy said he needed to get something from his car. The guy then got back into his car, and she ran up the hill. And she said the other car asked her if that was her daddy, and she said no. And they told her to go home, so she did. And she told her mom what had happened and said that it was kind of scary. And at that point, Detective McMahon then asked her to describe what the person looks like. And she said that it was a guy that had an orange beard and a gray car. She first noticed the guy when he came around the corner of her street. She said the guy went in front of her and stopped her, but he didn't touch or grab her. The guy didn't say anything else besides needing something from his car. She said she was kind of crying and was really scared when he stopped her. She said that she knew about stranger danger because her mom and dad had taught her not to talk to strangers or to go with them. At that point, Jamie thanked the little girl and said she didn't have any further questions. And she said that the little girl seemed to be in good spirits, even though it was a scary event. But she didn't appear to be too distressed. And at that point, they started talking about the different stuffed animals the little girl had on her bed. So then the father of the little girl got home, and at that point, Detective McMahon stepped outside so that the children couldn't hear them talking, and talked to the mom and dad, and basically told them what had happened, and said that the suspect had died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after being stopped by police. And both the mother and father were very thankful nothing further had happened, and were grateful that the unknown neighbors cared enough not only to stop this from happening, but had chased the man down. And so that was the good moment for those parents. I'm sure, can't even imagine what kind of relief one would have from that.
Yeah.
I mean, to know these Lawsons, not to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, as a detective, Jamie starts looking around the neighborhood and sees a Ring doorbell camera across the street, which appears that it would have captured the whole event. I have seen the video. It does, in fact, capture exactly what the Lawsons said happened. In the video camera, it's clear as day. He's driving along. He slows down. He crosses onto the wrong side of the road. You can barely see this little person walking along, and he gets out of his car and he sort of does a bear hug maneuver, like he's about to grab her, and then something stops him. And at first, when I saw the video, I thought maybe the Lawsons had honked at him, but they said no. He just turned and saw them. They either shouted something at him, and he stopped, and that's when he must have looked at the little girl and said, I got to get something out of my car. He got in his car, did a quick U-turn while they kept going straight to check on the little girl, and then they U-turned and followed him out.
Wow.
Then the next piece of the investigation, Detective McMahon was they towed the vehicle to the police department, and they were able to obtain permission from the registered owner, which is Tanner's mother, the guy who killed himself. So they then searched through the car. The items that were seized from the interior of the car included condoms, pre-made handcuff zip ties, Gorilla Tape covering the passenger door handle, Gorilla Tape in the center console, a large knife in the driver's door, blankets, a BB gun under the driver's seat, a Smirnoff vodka bottle, and ruby red juice boxes seemingly mixed together, 9mm ammo box, gloves, duct tape, and a McDonald's receipt dated on June 3rd of 2022 from Cottage Grove. And in the dashboard of the vehicle was a white blanket that had a black rubber band wrapped around it. At that time, it was unknown what the black bulb was. It has now been identified through Tanner's historical purchases as an anal douche. The trunk of the vehicle contained large garbage bags, a goat skeleton-looking mask, hand sanitizer, wipes, paper towels, a full gas can, white rope, and a box for a Taurus G2C 9mm handgun. One of the officers that I spoke to after the incident had described the vehicle and the contents that were inside the vehicle as a kidnapper's kit. That inside it, by having the zip ties,
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
to me, like straight up what you'd get like a Hollywood movie or TV show.
Like somebody watched a lot of movies to make that happen.
Yeah.
There was the zip ties were actually something on the floorboard so that the child could be handcuffed and then down.
Were they attached to the floor?
That's what I understood at the time. Then you fast forward to doing the next piece of follow-up, which is when Detective McMahon, the next week, goes with another detective down to the area of Oregon where he's from, and they stop into the local police department. They find out that he has 0 interactions with the police department. There's no previous contacts with the vehicle, license plate. They then drive out to Tanner Hoover's house and make contact with his mother, who's there, but they first talk to they have a renter who rents a room from there, who described Tanner as being a loner. He was very passive. Roommate was very shocked to learn that he had gotten a gun, and they didn't think that Tanner would be that type that he would buy a gun. He was shocked when he first heard the news, but he also recognized, looking back, that there were signs along the way. He suspected that Tanner was having some sort of mental health issues because he has communication issues and was uncomfortable being around people. He said that he stayed in his room consuming alcohol and possibly marijuana, stayed up playing video games, and mostly stayed in his room. Mother said that on the second when he left for his vacation, he seemed to be in very good spirits, and she thought that he was going to go rent an AirB&B at the coast. She didn't know exactly when he was going to be back, but they figured he had to work on the next week, so they figured he'd be back by then. She knew that he was going on a trip, and she said that she saw that he'd sent her text messages of the trip along the way. Later that evening, after she got a phone call from the police department, which is when I called to see who was driving the vehicle, she said that he just kept to himself, but when she saw him before he left for his trip, he seemed really sociable, and that he had been battling with depression, but he seemed to be really good that day. But now, in looking back, she wasn't sure.
It was different in hindsight.
Yeah, it always is different in hindsight. Part of the investigation that was key was the forensics breakdown of the phone that Tanner Hoover had. So our detectives were able to get into the phone and then go through the Google Maps and determine where he had been staying. And they found on his website search that he was checking an Airbnb. They determined that it was located in a town south of Springfield. And they were able to figure out what the address was and make contact with the Airbnb owners. The detectives then went down to that cabin and took pictures, of course, and did a thorough search of the location. And that's where they found some very disturbing things. They saw that the bed and the bed frame had been moved into the bathroom. There were zip ties in place in the bed frame, self-adhesive bandages rolled around parts of the bed frame, and some ties were all over the place. There were lifestyle ultra-sensitive condoms, the same that were found in his vehicle. There was lubricant and binder clips and safety pins, orange rope and zip ties placed around the base of the sink. There were all sorts of dildos, ball gags, ping pong paddles, spatulas, pink vibrator, and other things, devices. They all seem to be of some sort of sexual nature, along with a camera that was attached to a tripod. And then on the dining room table, there were receipts for the gun. They had his name that was also on the receipts. So they basically had uncovered a predator's...
Again, like a kidnapper's kit.
Kidnapper's kit. Yeah, exactly. He had stayed there for 2 nights and was able to set up this whole cave. Along with that, it looked like he had the cabin booked for a couple of more nights, which probably indicates what he was planning to do. One of the things that the detectives also uncovered was a journal where Mr. Hoover had been writing down descriptions of children in bus stops in different areas, mostly around Springfield, and it looked like he'd been planning for a couple of days to try to figure out taking a child. And when the detectives came back from their search of the cabin, the information rippled through the police department because we were all just like, could this possibly be... He had to have done it. There's like 2 camps. One school of thought was, he's done this before. We've got to find these other victims. This is his first... He's done this before. The second camp is, it's the first time. This must be his first time trying to do this. He's clearly not very good at it. He was probably trying to get his courage up. And then when he couldn't really complete the task, he ends up having a gun and killing himself. Whether that was his plan all along, if he failed at that, or what that was all about. But in an effort to try to make sure it wasn't his one and failing time, there was messages sent out, across the country. Has anybody seen this person? Has anybody had any cases like this? And they basically outlined similar, gave some basic brief description, and asked people to come forward if they've had any contacts or had any problems with this person. And since the updated report, which was at the end of June of this year, there haven't been other victims that have come forward. So it looks as if the Lawsons not only saved this little girl's life, but potentially stopped what could potentially have been a serial kidnap rapist kind of situation. That's what it looked like he was planning to do. So for the first time in my career of 28 years, I was able to be there when these 2 amazing people received an award from our department for their acts of heroism. The Chief Shearer made a point of inviting us and the city council, Shelly and I, who were the dispatchers that day, to be present. And we wanted to meet the Lawsons from the moment we got off that phone call, and we knew that little girl was safe and that the story had ended. We wanted to meet them, and it was an honor and a pleasure to go to the following awards ceremony that I recorded.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Pleasant smoke with you. This is a great day. What do you think? I want to thank everybody for coming here today. I want to recognize a few dignitaries we have here in the room. City Manager Nancy Newton, thanks for coming. Assistant City Manager Neil Ladati, City Councilor Joe Piscinari, and Mayor Sean McGordon. Thanks for being here today. Our ability as law enforcement to maintain a sense of safety in the community is entirely dependent on the relationship that exists with the people that we serve and the level of trust that they have in us. We rely on community to help us identify problems. We rely on community to notify us when things occur that cause them concern. Sometimes those concerns could be low-level reports of suspicious activity, and sometimes they might require emergency calls regarding crimes in progress. And on some occasions, community members find themselves in a position of having to make a critical decision. A decision whether or not to take an extra moment just to observe what's going on to see if something's amiss. A decision as to whether or not something is truly worthy of a call to police. And sometimes people have to make a decision whether to become involved in order to help someone else who might be in danger. Which brings us to why we're here today. So Donald and Jennifer Lawson, would you please step forward? So on June 6th of this year, the Lawsons made a decision that positively impacted a young child's life forever. They were paying attention to their surroundings, and they noticed when something didn't seem right, and they acted without hesitation. As a result of their willingness to take action, a child abduction was interrupted. A person not from this community came to Springfield that day with truly evil intentions for a child, and they had a deliberate plan to carry them out. And I have no doubt, based on what the investigation later revealed, that your actions averted a tragedy. So Donald and Jennifer Lawson, for your actions, you're being presented a letter of commendation on behalf of all the men and women of the Springfield Police Department. I'm going to go ahead and read that commendation letter now. On June 6, 2022, Donald and Jennifer Lawson were driving through a residential neighborhood here in Springfield, Oregon, when Jennifer recognized something suspicious. She noticed a young girl walking on the sidewalk and observed a man in a car driving towards her. She urged Donald to turn their car around out of concern for the little girl. And as Donald turned around, the man abruptly pulled over next to the girl, got out of his car, and attempted to grab her. The Lawsons' act of turning their car around clearly distracted this man's attention away from the girl, causing him to abruptly disengage from her and drive out of the neighborhood. The Lawsons immediately contacted the young girl to check on her, and they learned and found that she didn't know the man. Well, realizing they just interrupted an attempted child abduction, they followed the man. Jennifer called 911 and shared detailed information with Springfield police dispatchers about what had transpired, the man's direction of travel, and descriptions of him and his car. While on the phone with 911, the man began trying to elude the Lawsons. And understanding the seriousness of what had just occurred, they pursued the vehicle and continued sharing updates with 911 dispatch, coordinating a rapid police response. They maintained sight of the car for several minutes until it finally eluded them, and they unfortunately lost sight of it. But thanks to the detailed information the Lawsons provided to 911, officers from the Springfield Police Department, the Eugene Police Department, the Oregon State Police, the Lane County Sheriff's Office all converged on a location where they would most likely find the suspect. Sure enough, the vehicle was located shortly after the Lawsons lost sight of it, and a traffic stop was conducted. The driver of that vehicle pulled the car to the side of the road and immediately produced a handgun, taking his own life. Further investigation by Springfield detectives revealed that the man had in fact been trying to abduct the young girl, a child he didn't know. Evidence was discovered indicating that he pre-planned the abduction and he intended to do her harm after that abduction. The Lawsons being on that street at that exact moment when the man approached the little girl was extremely fortunate. Their presence, their instincts, their attention to detail, and observations at that critical instant led them to believe something just wasn't right. And not only were they correct in their assessment, they acted without hesitation. Their actions caused the predator to abandon his efforts to abduct a child. Their decisiveness in following him and calling 911, along with their demonstrated courage to pursue an armed kidnapping suspect, providing police with invaluable information, enabling them to rapidly locate and stop him. Jennifer and Donald Lawson are hereby presented this letter of commendation for their substantial and selfless actions leading to the apprehension of a dangerous predator and the prevention of a tragedy. The Springfield Police Department and this entire community are forever grateful for your efforts. So with that, I present you this framed letter of commendation to Springfield Police Chief coins for outstanding performance. These are the same coins that we would give to officers and other folks in SPD for doing great work. So thank you for everything you did. It's an honor to have you here today. Thank you. Thank you.
It was a very emotional moment for me as I watched the Lawsons. It was emotional for them as well. And we got to talk to them. Shelly and I got to talk to them after the awards presentation. And they shared that they are now like permanent guardian angels for this little girl and have met the parents, and they were able to give her a birthday present, and they gave her something at Christmas as well. And they watch over all the children in their neighborhood. And to the Lawsons, I would like to dedicate this episode, and to all the people who do heroic things, the officers, everybody who steps forward and out of their comfort zone to do something for somebody else is honorable.
Thanks for listening to our last episode of our season 1 of the Echo of Connections podcast. We'd like to thank you for following along on this journey, and we hope you will continue it with us in February. Thank you for listening.